Hello and welcome to another episode of 1000 Actually Fun Books, where we are looking for the best of fun escapist books that everyone can enjoy, that everyone should read. Okay, today we're doing a book called Fortunately... we're doing a book today called Fortunately the Milk. This is a children's book by Neil Gaiman. It is a comedy, fantasy, adventure. It is silly. It's pretty short too. Its audience is designed to be, it's aimed at the early reluctant readers. So about first grade, second grade, kindergarten maybe for good readers, right around that age range. Lots of illustrations in it, lots of fun action adventure going on. Okay, so the plot is a dad leaves the house at one point and is gone for a while and comes back. He was going to get a bottle of milk from the store. And when he gets back, the kids are like, "What took you so long?" And he spins this entire big long story of adventure with dinosaurs and aliens and time travel and pirates. And so the entire book is him telling the story of how he managed to get from the store to home, keeping hold of the milk. Fortunately, he had the milk. He managed to keep hold of it the entire adventure, and then he gets home and presents the milk to his kids. And so that's pretty much the plot of the story, is just this wacky adventure that Dad has, getting home to his kids, safely bringing home the bottle of milk. Now, the things I like about this would be the humor. This is a funny book. It is probably for an adult, not quite laugh out loud. Maybe snicker here and there, definitely smile at it. But for a child, this is a laugh out loud book. It is absurd in the best way. It is funny. The plot is pretty good too. So the author does a pretty good job, despite its absurdity. It has that time travel shenanigans that make it fun. And it brings up something, you mentions it earlier in the book and brings it up later in a fun way. He handles the plot really well. This book is all about the plot and the world building and the creative adventures, and the author does a great job with that. I mean, you really just don't want to put it down because you want to keep following along with what happens next, because it's going to be silly. The ending was good. So unexpectedly, this book doesn't quite have a clear-cut ending. It leaves you with a question. Was Dad spinning a yarn? Was he making this all up? Or was he telling the truth? You've got clues either direction, so a child then has to make up their mind. Was it real or was it not real, and why? And that kind of makes for a fun ending. It makes the kind of thing that would be a good discussion question with a kid. What do you think? Was it real or was it not? And why? So the ending, the author did a great job with the ending. So the illustrations. So I'm now going to bring up some of the illustrations just so you can give some ideas, because I read the book online. I don't have it to hold up because I read it on my computer, and because it has some illustrations, Amazon, their Kindle books, you actually can see the illustrations. It worked out great. So I'm going to put them up here so you can see some. Okay, so here's our first illustration. Very simply, it is a bottle of milk. This is the famous milk that needs to be taken home to the kids. As you can see from just this basic illustration, this is silly. It's absurd. It doesn't follow the rules of reality. A bottle of milk is not going to be crooked like that. It is meant, the illustrations add to the story a lot on their absurdity. Here is one of the ponies, a fabulous, obviously totally realistic horse there, right? No, it is meant to be silly. You want to stop and look at the illustrations because they're fun. Here is a volcano they encounter. It totally looks like a realistic volcano, right? Right? No, it doesn't. Instead, it has a really fun face. And this is part of the story. It's fun face. You have the pirates. that are just silly looking. You want to sit and spend a little time looking at these illustrations because they're so fun, they're so silly. And here is the milk. So the illustrations in total really add to this book. This isn't just the casual one or two illustrations that don't really have much to do with the story. No, these illustrations actually add to the story a lot. And they're frequent. They're about every other page that there's some sort of illustration. Sometimes more frequent, sometimes less. The pacing of the book is also pretty good. I've already kind of mentioned that, but the book is very fast paced. It's boom, 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 boom. You know, you're constantly wanting to find out what happens next. You really don't have any of slow down time in this book. And usually on books like this, it's kind of nice to have some slow down time to catch your breath or whatever. But on a book like this, where you're kind of more encouraging a young child, a reluctant reader to read, this really makes them want to read. If the child doesn't make it to the end of the book and you have to set it down for some reason, they're going to want to come back to this book because it makes it a lot of fun. Okay, the things that I dislike about this book, there's not a lot, very little, honestly. First would basically be the character development. This book is all about the plot, the action, the world building. It is not about character development. Even our main character, Dad, you don't really know much about Dad. You don't get any kind of background or personality or what he's thinking. It's all about what's happening in the immediate time of the book. The same thing with other characters. You don't really know much about anybody else there. So this is not a character building book. And that's fine for this. That's why it's a minor dislike, not huge. Another thing would be, it's too short. It was good enough and funny enough. It's a very short read, like less than an hour for an adult to read at a normal reading pace. If you were spending time looking at the illustrations, you could probably really stretch that out to maybe 2 hours, maybe if you were being slow at it. But an adult reader would go through this pretty darn quick. A child, maybe a couple of sessions of reading through it again if they're a slow, reluctant reader or not used to reading. But for the most part, it's a pretty short, very compact book. It is fun and it makes you kind of want more of his adventures. More of seeing the dinosaurs and the aliens and the pirates and the ponies and everybody else. Spend a little bit more time because it's only a couple pages really at each adventure. It just happens he's there, he gets out of the situation, he's gone. It's boom, boom, boom so fast, and you kind of want to linger a little bit more on that. So that's kind of a dislike, not too much. Okay, would an adult enjoy this? Because typically I'm expecting adults to be watching this video, not kids. Would an adult enjoy this? And I'm going to give a yes tentatively. I think that an adult would enjoy it if you like something kind of lighthearted, humorous, absurd. If you liked Calvin and Hobbes, you might like this. But it's not, somebody who's looking for deep, characters. They really want an in-depth story, something that's not very superficial, then maybe not. I would kind of recommend it as something to just check out for fun, like at a library. You put it on hold. You could probably read it at the library and not even take it home. If, however, you have a child in your life, a niece, a nephew, a neighbor's kid, anybody like that you think would enjoy a book as a present, or you think their parents would enjoy them having a book as a present, or you want to donate a book to a local library because it doesn't have very many kids' books, things like that, then I would suggest you buy it, read it, and then pass it on. It's the kind of book that it's almost like a guilty pleasure for an adult, I would think. Now, I tend to really like kids' books, and I don't have any problem going to the local library and just pulling a kid's book off the shelf at the local library. But some adults are not so comfortable doing that and wouldn't want to. So it's up to you. I recommend this book. I'm giving it 2 thumbs way up, especially for its target audience. but I think an adult would find it silly fun, lighthearted, ridiculous. Obviously, as long as you have the right attitude going into it, that it's just going to be silly fun, not anything with any kind of quality depth as far as plot or character development. So that's my recommendation, that you do attempt to get a hold of this book to try it out. Like I said, I got it on Kindle, so it's obviously digitally available. I don't know whether it was free or whether I bought it. I don't remember. It's very likely at the local library, so try it if you have the chance. Okay, my next book is going to be historical fiction fantasy. It's an alternate history with a little touch of magic. So this is My Lady Jane. So this is talking about the time of not Henry VIII, but his children's generation, with Edward on the throne, and think of Bloody Mary and other relatives in that era. So this is taking place in that era, and it's an alternate history. So if some of the people that died didn't die, and some people can turn into animals, and we'll leave it at that. It is a kind of a young adult, but a more substantial. It probably just means that it's going to be a relatively easier read. So I think that'll be fun. So we'll do that next.